Thank you very much, Lucius. Always appreciate you playing that. And thank you to Greystone for being a part of this one as well. I had somebody on Twitter X ask me a question. And the question was about, are there defenses that statistically are really poor during the year and bounce back the next year? What kind of, and usually it is the case. And if you go back to 2021 through 2025, I know it's a small little sample size. Mm-hmm. There's only been 3 teams that got worse from one year to the next. So, with your hope, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, that, oh, wait, there's a big jump, or they're much better than being. If you just do it, I personally like to look at points allowed. That's kind of my thing. But if you just do yards, statistically last year, Dallas in yards allowed was not in the bottom 5. But if you think about points and big plays and
red zone defense, explosives.
Yeah, exactly.
Third down defense.
Exactly. There are a lot of other things but I mentioned there's only 3 teams that have gotten worse, that got worse over that time period from 2021 to 2025. And the Minnesota Vikings, just to go back, the Minnesota Vikings in 2021 allowed 383 yards a game, which was the 30th worst in the league. In 2022, they fell to 31, where they went back-to-back years of being awful. The Detroit Lions did the same thing. They went from 29th, averaging 379 yards a game given up, to statistically the worst defense giving up yards in the National Football League.
Wow. Consistency.
And then if you go back to it, and it hadn't happened before, it hasn't happened, like from that period of 2021 to 2022, we didn't have anything from 23 to 24. It was the 25 group, the 2024 to 2025. The Indianapolis Colts went from the 29th worst defense to the worst defense.
So did you look at like the worst defenses in the NFL and if they got worse?
Yeah, I did. For example, this is what's amazing. In 2021, if I would have told you yards allowed by a defense, right? That's what there's a lot of other categories we could go to, but if you just go through yards allowed. How about these names? Seattle was number 28 for the worst defense in the league. Detroit.
Needed to get Pete Carroll out of there.
Detroit, 29. Minnesota, 30. We've mentioned them. Houston was 31. And the New York Jets were 32. Go to 2022. Houston was 28th. Slight improvement from... But you think about Houston today, you would say Houston's never had a bad defense.
Hell, they needed to draft Will Anderson, Derek Stingley.
Yeah,
give those guys.
There.
Bring in Daniil Hunter.
Yeah. Houston, kind of like what Dallas is trying to do. I mean, we're trying to make it just a big swing at it. But Houston was 28th, Chicago 29th, Atlanta 30th, Minnesota, we mentioned them, they were 31, and Detroit was 32. If you go to 2023, bottom 5 again on yards, Arizona was 28th, the Giants were 29th, the Chargers were 30th, Cincinnati was 31, and the Commanders were 32 for your worst defenses.
Shout out to Dan Quinn and Jesse Minter.
Yeah, how about that? In 2024, this is when you get Dallas. Dallas was 28th in the league, giving up 355 yards a game. Indy was 29th. The Saints were 30th. Jacksonville, 31st. Carolina, 32. Then we get to the final year of the study here was, again, the Giants. They were 28th. Arizona, 29. Baltimore, 30. Pittsburgh, 31.
That's
and
shocking.
Indy, 32. There were some teams that's shocking.
Yeah, Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
That you think would play a lot better defense than that, but giving up way, way, way too many yards. So it can happen. You could get big, adjustments. You could get the defense
Volatility
playing a lot better. Yeah, a lot better. So there's only a few teams that have gone from a bad number to a worse number. So that would be your thing.
What do you think it would look like if the Cowboys actually were worse, other than injuries? Is it possible?
I don't know how you can.
I
really don't think it is.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I really don't think it is. And look, for the Cowboys, you got to look as recently as 20 to 21. Mike Nolan's defense, Dan Quinn comes in the next year. If you just want to go on points, Brian, they were 28th in points allowed in 2020 under Mike Nolan. The following season, DQ's first year, they were 5th.
Turnovers, right? They created those turnovers, yeah.
and then also pass rush helped. But yeah, I mean that's right there is what you're hoping for this year. That kind of discrepancy.
That year might have been the finest coaching job we've seen on defense for the Cowboys in a long time.
Incredible. All right, I'm going to ask you guys this question, and this kind of made me think about what the Rams are doing. Right? If you were a team. And this is with the kind of the Rams in thought, because they're the ones that seem to do it more than anybody else. Maybe wrong about this, but would you rather be good at hitting mid-round picks or trading for or signing the right guy? Would you rather be good at hitting mid-round picks, building a team, or trading for and signing the right guy?
I mean,
or signing the right guy.
I'll take option A, guys. I think if you're doing that, I might not have to trade or sign anybody, other than the guys I picked. If I'm hitting rounds 3, 4, 5 consistently, we got it. We have a huge advantage.
I'm with you. And
so
also,
much cheap labor.
Yeah, cheap labor, and it also allows you to stay aggressive. Like, even if I miss on some of those guys that I trade for, I'm now recouping my roster based on hitting on these mid-round guys. So I think it's allowed the Rams to really lean into this strategy.
They don't seem like that they really, and I thought maybe they didn't have confidence drafting first-round players.
They've been great.
But where people get terrified in the NFL is they feel like they could draft the first-rounders. They don't feel like they could draft the mid-rounders. Does it make sense?
Yeah, you're just hoping to get lucky.
The Rams are the complete opposite of that. They're like, we'll just give away all our picks. Yeah. They're so good at evaluating those mid-round picks that they can afford to give away picks, the top picks. I mean, they've had, 3 times they've picked a quarterback and a...
I mean, they've taken Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Jared Verse since 2016 with their 3, since 2015.
Most teams are terrified of not picking high or in the first round of a draft. They're like, we got a better shot at getting players. Not the Rams.
No.
They're the complete opposite of that. They'd be willing to give away their first round pick in order to be able, we'll get a guy we know. We'll get a top guy we know.
Let's go get Ramsey.
And then we'll go draft the rest of the pieces around that.
If you needed a reminder, I feel like the last couple of months has proven the Rams are the best organization in football.
Yeah.
Do they take over from Philly?
I would say the Rams are slightly better than the Eagles, yes. Yeah, I agree. And look, I'm giving Howie Roseman a lot of credit for what he's just done with his A.J. Brown thing. I mean, to me, it's crazy. We're having the conversations we are about George Pickens and how the Cowboys can't get a 1 for him. And I get it. There's other elements to that. But A.J. Brown, who was traded for a 1 and a 3 4 years ago, the Eagles just flipped him for a 1 and a 5 yesterday. That's wild.
It's like Ferrari value right there. Yeah.
Yeah, both are doing a hell of a job. I feel like the Rams are better at quarterback. Howie believed in Wentz, and he believed in Jalen Hurts. And I'll give him credit for using a sledgehammer to build a good enough roster around those guys to win. But I'd prefer to be a fan of the Rams.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that. I'm in that mode now. I think that maybe the Rams have taken over as that front office group that we really, really admire. I think Cowboy fans wish that the Cowboys front office was the Rams front office.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
100%. And the Cowboys' issue has really kind of been in the middle rounds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've struggled, especially at certain positions, mainly. Like offensive line, they haven't really hit in the mid rounds. Biotish might be one that you could look at.
Yeah, I would take a lot of front offices, obviously, over the Cowboys. It'd be interesting to find how many I wouldn't. Like, how many front offices would you not trade the Jones boys and Will McClay for? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.